When people look back on 2023, many events may pop into mind, such as the Chinese spy balloon, the Eras Tour, or even the Ocean Gate submersible implosion. But what about the movies? The year produced many memorable films, like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, Wonka, and of course, Barbenheimer. An overall eventful year for the cinephiles, but perhaps the best film lies elsewhere. Yes, that's right. Bottoms. I could talk about this film for days on end, but that isn't what anyone wants to hear, so I'll condense it down into these however many minutes it ends up being. Upon my first watch of this masterpiece, I automatically clocked it as a 5-star must-watch. Hilariously funny, greatly acted, and everything that went into the making of this masterpiece makes it what I believe to be the best queer comedy of the 21st century.
They are grateful to us. We build a community. We bond. We share. We connect. We're punching each other. Adrenaline is flowing. Next thing you know, Isabel and Brittany are kissing us on the mouths. Josie, Isabel knew your name.
If we do this, very big if,
We just run the risk of becoming even bigger losers than we already are right now. And I hate to break it to you, but we're pretty big losers.
And that is the beauty. That is the beauty of this. Because we are literally at the bottom. We're the lowest of the low.
Okay.
We have nowhere to go but up.
Bold statement, I know. We're only 24 years in after all, and there's surely more films to come that are equally as good, but why not give it the praise now? In this review, I'd like to touch on 3 aspects of the film: the directing, the screenplay, and the soundtrack. Buckle up for this one, and thank you for watching. Emma Seligman is relatively new to film, getting her start after graduating from NYU and her senior film being the 2020 movie Shiva Baby. Rachel Sennott, star of Shiva Baby, also co-stars in Bottoms alongside Iowa Debris. Now I could go on and on about the amazing abilities of Sennott and also Debris, but this analysis would take hours, so I won't. Seligman being queer herself, using both she, her, and they, them pronouns, as well as referring to herself as gay on numerous occasions, is such a big part of gay movies. No straight person could ever replicate what it's like to be gay, no matter how hard they try. And for some reason that's controversial. Seligman is able to take characteristics from her own identity and apply them to fiction. This simple, silly thing adds so much to the joy of gay movies. In both of Emma Seligman's feature films, young queer women are included without their sexuality being the topic of discussion. Style-wise, I have to applaud her on the genius that is her knack for comedic timing.
Are you serious? I got faggot number 2 this time? You're the sidekick, not me.
Upon watching both of Seligman's films, despite I can respect Shiva Baby, Bottoms still trumps. Shiva Baby's plot is original, a direct contrast with a somewhat overused plot in Bottoms, but the latter definitely has better execution. In Shiva Baby, our main character is put in a very awkward situation, in which she runs into both her sugar daddy and her ex-girlfriend at a Shiva. The entire thing is an absolute nightmare and feels so real and raw. Bottoms, however, takes us out of the real and is able to put us into a fantasy world where murder is kind of awesome. One of the first things about the film that I feel stuck out to the audience when the trailer came out was the poster. All of the main characters posed up in front of a white backdrop, a classic, as we've seen with dozens of other films. This style and framing of the poster gave off big 2000s comedy vibes, and I, along with everyone else, was and still am here for it. But Bottoms' similarities between other comedies don't lie just in the poster, but the comedy. We take a look at films like Superbad, Wedding Crashers, and Road Trip. All are good movies, respectively, but when you compare them to Bottoms, they're rather lackluster. The film is able to encapsulate the unoriginal plot of movies that have been done time and time before. A bunch of losers are desperate to get laid. So why is this any better in comparison? There are many points the audience could argue, but I'll pull focus to just one: women. Emma Seligman's film, co-written by Rachel Sennott, is able to take this plot and flip it around a little bit. Many of these classic 2000s comedies, like American Pie, for example, feature women that are just used as plot points and not actually people. In this film, though, each character has depth. Female or not, there's a story behind how they act and their motivations.
Great.
Oh my God, PJ, okay. I'm sorry that you didn't get what you wanted out of this group, but I think the rest of us did.
Oh, good for fucking you, Hazel. I'm glad that you finally wrote one email. Accomplished a lot.
I actually did. I practically ran this club for you and Josie.
Okay, let's calm down, maybe.
You really think that you're the reason that we have this club?
The reason? No, but I can tell everyone that if you want.
Hazel, hey, let's calm down,
You're
right?
really ungrateful. You're so lucky that we even let you be a part of this.
PJ, you're a liar.
Yeah, well, you have no friends, and a skank is a mom. So.
Not only will I compare it to films that are mainly comedy, but I'd also like to pull your focus to other queer films that have came out in this century. Movies such as A Portrait of a Lady on Fire, The Miseducation of Cameron Post, The Handmaiden, Brokeback Mountain, Moonlight, the list goes on. I must pay homage to the masterpieces that came before, because I would not be who I am today if I hadn't watched Brokeback Mountain at 13 and sobbed after. But then there are other films, like Blue is the Warmest Color, or Love, Simon. If you like them, awesome. But Bottoms has one thing they don't. Main characters who have more depth to them beyond being queer. In many of well-regarded LGBTQ+ movies, the character's whole identity is based around their sexuality and the struggles that come from being something out of the norm. Bottoms, instead, features an array of likable characters who just happen to be gay. Their sexuality isn't the basis of who they are, and is rather something said in the bylines and not made a topic of discussion, with some exceptions. Bottoms is so refreshing because it's finally not making a character's romantic attraction the entire story behind who they are. Regarding the screenplay, Bottoms is the best because it's reminiscent of a classic 2000s comedy without forcing it too much. The soundtrack and score that makes up Bottoms is unique for certain. The entire score is an original, comprised of work by Charlie XCX and Leo Burenberg, and the film features 4 non-original works throughout its 90-ish minute runtime. Those non-original works are as follows: Pain by King Princess, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, Complicated by Avril Lavigne, and Party for You by Charlie XCX. Whether you agree with my thesis or not, these songs are a hilarious and a heartwarming combination. All songs are non-diegetic, and while the characters in the film aren't experiencing it like we are, each piece of music is used expertly. Not only is the music choice good, but maybe the artist behind the songs tie it all together. Emma Seligman is queer herself, so it only makes sense if she uses music made by queer artists. Charlie XCX, whose work is utilized multiple times throughout the movie, doesn't identify as LGBTQ+, but has credited much of her success to her gay fans. In a love letter to the community, the pop singer told Billboard the LGBTQ community has shaped who she is as an artist today. Another example is King Princess, who identifies as queer. I love that representation is shown even in places where people aren't typically looking, like the soundtrack. Using a song by a queer person in a scene that is all about women wrestling is one of the funniest ways I've ever seen a soundtrack utilized, and adds to how absolutely genius Bottoms is.
Fight me off, PJ.
Stop smiling. I'm kicking your ass.
I will admit, Bottoms has a very specific audience and may not appeal to everyone. But being a lesbian cinephile, I truly think the film is able to capture the queer experience of trying to get play, yet also still enjoyable, and not a sob story we see in other films that focus on a character's struggles with identifying as a member of the LGBTQ+ community. It recycles a plot used time and time again, and is still able to be good and original. Of course, there are other parts that contribute to the film's success in my eyes, but I hope with the 3 aforementioned subjects, I've swayed your opinion on the movie just a bit. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.